Hey everyone, this is Evan and I'm back again with another Gunpla TV review. This time we are looking at the MS-06S Zaku 2, specifically Char Aznable's version of the Zaku 2. So this is a Universal Century kit based on the very first series, Mobile Suit Gundam. And it's not a Zaku that's based on a more recent series like some of the others that have come out in the recent years, such as the Zaku 2 from Gundam The Origin. So as I mentioned, this is the main antagonist's mobile suit, Char Aznable's mobile suit, so it comes in a nice, well, he's supposed to be the red comet, but this mobile suit's kind of more of a salmon color, except for his body there, it's more of a red or maroon. Still, it looks quite nice. So this kit is built brand new from the ground up. I think the original kit came out in the early 2000s, I think around 2002 if I remember correctly. I did look it up, but there's so many versions of Zakus out there, it's kind of hard to keep track. And then we also had a more recent version of the Zaku, and also Char's Zaku from around 2017, 2018, 2019, when the Gundam The Origin series was going. But this is a brand new build of the original look here, so this is based on the original anime. Also included are some new movement gimmicks that we'll get into in just a second. But first, let's look at what's in the box. So you get 7 runners total and 1 tiny sticker sheet with 1 little lonely sticker for the eye, nothing else in there. There's all original parts here, all original runners except for the weapons parts. And best of all, there's no polycaps this time. And the instructions are in English and Japanese and in color and black and white. There's also a nice little section in the back of the manual here that gives you some information about the Zaku and Char, as well as the weapons. And a color guide if you're interested in painting it. So fully completed, this is everything you get. You get the Zaku 2, 2 types of skirt armors, 6 hands, a Zaku machine gun, a Zaku bazooka, a heat hawk, an extra canister for the Zaku machine gun, and some little adapter pieces for accessories like the stands and the heat hawk. So first off, please note that I usually use some Gundam markers on my kits so that the details pop out more. And this time I used a light, very light spray of matte finish on this kit. So this is not an accurate representation of what the Zaku looks like straight out of the box, but with just some really minor extra effort put in. This kit looks great even before the additional work, but I just wanted to mention that before continuing. So let's look at the Zaku itself. I think this thing is gorgeous. The proportions here look great, and all the added additions look amazing. First off, the head has much more range of movement than previous versions of the Zaku. The neck can extend much more up and forward, and you can rotate it 360 degrees. The eye can move with the help of a notch underneath the head so that the eye can move left and right. The shoulder guard and pauldron are on their own joints as well. And the shoulder is one piece on its own plus 2 little additional pieces just for the spikes. I think this is the first time the pauldron is one complete piece with no seam. I think even the most recent Zaku from Gundam The Origin had a seam down the middle, but here it looks great. The arms have a great range of motion at the shoulders. Also, the elbows are double jointed. Of course, the Origin Zaku 2 has double jointed elbows, but I don't think the original HG Zaku was. The arms also have a new joint just below the wrist for some more movement. The forearm joint can rotate and extend for more dynamic looking poses. At first, I really like this. I think it's a really good idea, but I don't know if it's just my kit or if they're all like this, but the ball joints on the arms are just way too loose. They kind of flop around, especially his left arm here for me. Probably something fixable if you use something material to bulk up the joint, but as it is, it's a little irksome. Nothing deal breaking, but just keep an eye out for this. On the opposite end, the wrist joint for the hand is extremely tight, which is great, except removing hands is a little tough because you're more likely to remove that forearm joint before you get to the hands. Still, this is much more preferable than loose joints. For hands, you get 2 trigger finger poses for the left and right hand, so you can have the bazooka or the machine gun in either hand. 3 fists, 2 for the right hand and 1 for the left. I guess you just get 1 extra fist. I think that's from the extra runner that is not original to this kit. They look great, and they are not a single red color like they are in the original HG kit, or in the original show for that matter, but I think it's a nice improvement. There's a lot of movement in the hip. You can actually rotate it 360 degrees if you move this notch out of the way. There's also a good amount of back and forward motion to the abdomen as well. As mentioned, you get two types of skirt armor this time around. One is typical hard plastic type, and the other is this silicone, soft rubbery type of material. I think this is the first time we've ever seen this gimmick, and I was really excited to see how this would work out. Since this is based on the original show, I thought this and the more fluid looking wrist poses would make this kit look more like the bendy, imperfect motion that you saw in the original series. Overall, this is exactly what it does, and it looks good. But it's not great. The biggest gripe is how soft it is. Cutting it out of the runner and removing the excess material just left these marks that you can't do much about because of how soft the material is. I think they should have gone for something a bit more firm, like the pipes. The pipes are made of a soft rubbery material as well, with just enough bend to them that they would have made good material for the skirt. Still, it looks pretty good here, and I decided to stick with this version for now. Oh, and one thing that this version also lacks is the pegs on the sides for holding the heat hawk. Just another thing to keep in mind. But swapping between the two armors is easy enough. The legs are also double jointed, and the knees look really good. I like that this piece under the knees looks just like an extension of the kneecap here. Nice design. The feet have just enough movement at the ankles for some good poses. And the joint here on the top of the foot also has some movement as well. There's also some hidden little details under the feet too. Last but not least are the weapons. These are the only pieces that are not original and come from the MS-06 R kits from copyright 2012. I believe these were some Mobile Suit Variation series Zakus. Either way, they look just fine. Nothing fancy, but absolutely no complaints here either. I will note there is no sticker here for either the scope on the machine gun or the bazooka. Prior to this release, I believe the most recent iteration of the Zaku 2 was the Origin version, which I have here. As you can see, the Origin version has a lot more detail going on with a lot more panel lines present. This new Zaku looks closer to the original anime and doesn't include these panels. Generally, I like more details with my kit, but I much prefer the head design and the stockier proportions on this new Char Zaku compared to the Origin version. Even without the panels, I think this new one looks sleek without them. I think it really boils down to your preference though. If you like more detail, go for the Origin version. If you like simple, or if you are more concerned about proportions, this is definitely the one to go with. So just to wrap things up, this is a great new addition to the HGUC line and a welcome update to the original Mobile Suit Gundam Char's Zaku 2. It's simple, but its construction is really smartly designed and it looks great. The only gripes I have are the skirt armor and the new arm joints. Very welcome additions both, but the execution could have been better. Hopefully we can see some improvements to both of these down the road. I think overall this kit took me around 3 hours to build, maybe a little bit extra time. Yeah, I think we'll just cut it there then.